everyone. My name is Faith Martinez, and I'm here with Dan Rivera, the author of Wisdom Soldier. Thanks so much for being here, Dan.
My pleasure.
So, I just want to say that I myself have read your book, and I am so amazed of how much knowledge you possess in it. And I'm not just saying that, but it has a lot of content that can really help people.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So how did you enjoy the book?
I myself enjoyed it. My favorite chapter was the humility. I highlighted that chapter so much. I pretty much highlighted every single sentence.
That's good. That's awesome.
Okay. I just kind of want to jump right into the questions because I want to give you, the viewers, the behind the scenes of Dan making Wisdom Soldier. So, Dan, I understood that when you were in high school, you didn't really have that much experience in writing. How did you overcome those negative thoughts and beliefs?
That's true. In high school, I hated English class. In college, I hated English class. Matter of fact, I believe I took English twice before I passed it. And matter of fact, it was just so difficult for me that I ended up just dropping out of college. I said, if I have to keep going through all these classes, forget it. There's just no way I'm going to make it. And but interestingly enough, as the years went by, I one day realized I had this story to tell. And in order for me to be able to tell that story, I was going to have to learn how to write and learn how to put together a whole entire book, right? So I found my purpose of why it was worth putting in the effort to overcome this fear and real negative belief about English, and just really focus on how to overcome that. And really what that entailed was, once I realized I had a story to tell, I started watching videos on how to put sentences together, how to put a paragraph together, how to put a chapter, and then ultimately how to create a whole entire book. So it took me a couple of years to get this thing down. I put a lot of work, but the knowledge helped me get past that fear, and and I feel like I did fairly well.
That's good. When you say you realize, is there a specific time in your life, like an event that happened that made you click on that light bulb and say, I'm going to write this book?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So I was at a family reunion, I believe it was like in July. And what happened was I was basically with my family, and here we all are hanging out. And I realized that there was so much fighting and frustration, that a lot of us not liking, no harmony. And from so many people just criticizing each other, what ended up happening was that I asked myself one question. I asked myself, is this normal? Is it normal for a family to fight about everything and for everybody not to like each other? And I answered that question right on the spot. And that was that, no, it's not normal. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to write a book on what not to do with your family. And that's how Wisdom Soldier was born.
Wow. Well, I was reading your book. The word dysfunctional family kept on coming up. Can you kind of further explain what a dysfunctional family is?
Great question. A dysfunctional family is a family where either somebody in the family has an addiction, whether they have bad habits, and where there's a lot of conflict or an inability to communicate, and there's just a lot of, like I said, dissonance, disagreements, and where the family has learned to accept it as normal. And so now they live in a home environment where all of this is just normal for them to fight, for them to yell, for them to not work on their goals, for them not to study, for them to just live in complete disarray. That is that's a hard case of a dysfunctional family, but that's what it is. They've accepted it to be normal.
What was your main motivation into writing this book?
The main motivation is I wanted to help people overcome a lot of the life obstacles that we kind of all go into. And my goal was to help somebody who was in a situation like I was, to provide a path for them to live a better life. So in short, I was just trying to help somebody who wants to live a better life or who wants to go after the dream. I was trying to provide the roadmap to get them from a dysfunctional family to normal, and then from normal to success.
That makes a lot of sense. What is your main message in the book? Is there like a specific thing that built your foundation of wanting to?
The main message is really in the title. In the title, you see it says wisdom. And the main message, the main thing that I discovered in this journey of going for a better life, I discovered the writings of King Solomon, who was considered to be the wisest man to have ever lived. And I realized that in a lot of his writings, he disclosed wisdom to be the answer, the discovery of wisdom to be the answer to all of life's problems and issues. And once a person understands wisdoms and grabs a hold of wisdom, with it comes honor, success, a lifelong, and just a lot of different happiness, a lot of other different things come with wisdom. So when wisdom is really sort of like an idea that you live, and that idea provides a safety net to be able to safeguard a person from heartbreak, from disappointment, from failure, and just really changes the paradigms of how to avoid pain and how to get onto a path of success and of joy and of happiness.
Mm. Now, on the cover, like you said, wisdom was like your main message, but after that, it says wisdom soldier. What is a wisdom soldier?
A wisdom soldier is somebody who's willing to stand up with the right message of wisdom and who was able to go into a dysfunctional family environment and challenge the existing beliefs of a family or of their friends, and not have the fear of going against what people believe is normal. And they're willing to be that light to provide the knowledge and the understanding and the explanations of why those beliefs are not in the best interest of a dysfunctional family or of just a complacent environment where people are not thriving. And so it takes a lot of courage to be a good soldier. And in this case, it's a soldier who is bringing wisdom, the message of wisdom that challenges every single belief that a home can have. Because wisdom is always about becoming better and better and better, instead of just saying, this is good enough, good enough. Wisdom is the opposite of good enough. Wisdom is excellence, and learning to strive for excellence as a way of having a more fulfilled, purpose-driven life. And so a soldier is willing to bring that message, and many people are going to reject that message.
From what I was reading, it sounded like your motto was guard your heart. What does that really mean?
Okay, guard your heart. So basically the understanding, or in the story in chapter 13, I talk about the guarding your heart. And in guarding your heart, the purpose of the heart is where your dreams and passions and aspirations are all born. You know, with through our heart, we connect with those people that we love. We connect with God. We connect with anything that matters to you. And when a person doesn't guard their hearts, they allow other fears or other things to push their passions, or to close and hide their passions, and even kill their dreams. So the point is that that King Solomon, at one point said, above all, guard your hearts, for it is a wellspring of life. And what I took that to understand, what I understood that to mean, was that when a person guards their heart, they keep a fountain of ideas and of life and of dreams. They keep it open and thriving. So we guard our hearts so that we don't kill those passions, and we're able to keep those dream alive, that we want to be what keeps us moving forward for that better life And when we don't guard our hearts, we kill our reasons for existing, and our lives become complacent, mediocre, full of regret and unhappiness.
Yeah, you, me, and everyone out there, we all have dreams and we all have passions that we want to pursue. And I believe that when you guard your heart, it is something that you stand firm in, and it keeps you going for your dreams. So I really loved your chapter in that. For all the people out there, who is your main target market?
My target market is parents. I would say parents are probably the people who are most in charge of the next generation. And I would really like to see a lot of moms dip into this book so that they could see what bad mom or a bad dad can actually do to a child, and all the resentment that it creates being just raised in a toxic environment with parents that not only do they not support you, but they don't know how to support you. And just by not being able to provide the proper tools to a growing child, I find that these children get frustrated and they're full of resentment and anger, and they don't know why. But a lot of that resentment is always ends up being guided towards the mom or the dad, because the belief of a child is, this is my mom, this is my dad, they're teaching me, but they're doing some things that just don't make sense, and I'm supposed to learn that, and now I feel like I can't even help them, and they're ruining their lives, and they're not equipping me, and they're not helping me out. So are we all going to drown in this together? And so a lot of kids are raised with all these anxiety, depression, and all these, because a parent is not fully equipped to be able to provide the tools and the understanding, the knowledge, let alone the wisdom. And by really kind of exploring these thoughts, I think that my best target market is a parent, because a parent can have 2 or 3 children. That means that they can empower 2 or 3 more children who can then later on have 2 or 3 more children. And 3 times 3, that's 9, and 9 times 3, that's 27. And with that understanding, I think its parents are the best ones that could really take a hold of this book and be able to do something not only with their children, but in their lives, their relatives' lives, their siblings, their parents. There's a lot of people that are really in need of help, and somebody who wants to stand up and be one who brings good news into people's lives is a wisdom soldier.
I can totally agree on that. As I was reading your book, I could kind of see that it's towards parents, because it's parents who build a foundation for their children. They teach their children, don't do this, do this, morals and ethics, and everything comes along with it. As a teenager, I would want a parent who knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
As a teenager, like, you would come to your parent and be like, hey, I need some advice. But when your parent doesn't care, doesn't really know what to say, it's kind of hard. And this book is for parents who want to grow their relationship with their child, because it shows them how much they care,
Exactly.
So just another question. What was the most surprising thing you learned in writing your book?
I think it was that. I think I learned, I learned that I could move past an obstacle. Like, for example, that I said that I didn't know how to write. And so through the discovery process, I learned that, hey, if I want to learn how to write, I can learn how to write. Nobody decides what I can or I can't do, what I can learn or what I can't learn. And I decided that I'm in control. I make the decision. Nobody's going to tell me somebody gave me an F, then, I can change that. And my past doesn't have to dictate my future. Every day is a different day and a different opportunity to grow and become something better. Now, I also learned that if you're hanging around with people who are constantly judging you on things that you've done in the past, then you've got to step away from them. And those are toxic people. You've got to get away from anybody who is putting these beliefs that you're not going to change, because we can change. You can change. You should change. Not only should you change, but you must change. And I say you must change because you know, just like I do, that we all have a lot of potential. But where is that potential? What are we doing with the potential? Are the results out here, or are we going to live off the idea that the potential is enough? No, we need to start bringing things into our life and exercising this potential so that we can start seeing bigger and better things, as I know we all do. And so we got to make that effort. So I learned that I could push my limit to any limit that I may choose for myself. And that's what I teach in the book. Another thing that I learned was that wisdom will guard you, will protect you, will bring honor, treasures, happiness, long life, all the things that a man wants or a woman could want in this life. It is wisdom, the acquisition of wisdom, that provides the path for that life to come into for that life to come to fruition and to manifest itself, and for you to be able to reap the benefits of a life of wisdom. So those were two big learns for me, and things that really changed how I think and how I feel and how I believe and everything about me.
I can totally agree. I wholeheartedly agree, because every single thing that you just said is perfect for everyone out there, because you must open up your hearts to this knowledge. You need to be aware that it can change you and your family's lives. You do not want to just hold in what you have and all the knowledge you have and just say, I don't want them to learn either. By you learning from this book, by your family learning from this book, your family is going to grow, and you're all going to be happy. And just wrapping up, for all the people out there who are kind of on the fence of whether or not they should buy this book, what do you have to say?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you want a better life? Okay, well, what's your goal? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to be appreciated? Do you want to feel better about yourself? Do you want to have more influence? Do you want to raise not good kids, but great kids? And what I mean about, to me, a great kid is a kid who is fully equipped to make an impact on society in the world at large. A great kid is somebody who feels good about themselves and who is not burdened by a parent who is casting a lot of responsibilities, but who just feels that they can do and that they can just unleash their talent and be a voice and help other people also unleash their talent as well. If you want to just have great relationships, if you want to, whatever it may be, this book is the foundational teachings that are going to help you deal with your self-esteem. If you don't feel good about yourself, you need to get this book. If you don't see yourself as somebody who deserves a bigger and better life, you're going to need this book. If you're in a dysfunctional family and you want to find a way how to get out of that environment, you're going to need this book. If you want to figure out how to be more charitable, have stronger willpower, how to be more self-disciplined, and why, you want to read this book. If you want to understand how so many people are going to prescription drugs and how to avoid that pitfall, you want to read this book. If you want to have better communication skills and be able to communicate yourself, build better relationships, have more capacity, you want to read this book. And if you want to have all these different ideas in one book, trust me, read the book.
I've read the book myself, and everything that he is saying is totally true. I want to thank you, Dan, so much for being here and answering my questions. And I just want to let anybody know who has any questions, please comment down below or say anything you need to say. We are here to answer your questions about the book. So thank you so much for being with us today, and everyone have a great day.